So we're here in Seoul in South Korea for the World Championships. This is the last event of the season. The World Championships in climbing only happen once every 2 years. So the last World Championships I was at was in Bern, Switzerland. So yeah, World Championships in general, they're typically an event that more athletes go to. Typically the boulders are a little bit harder. And it's also a little bit later in the season, so they need to make sure that all the disciplines are fully finished in terms of the World Cups before we can do the World Championships. So this is the final event of every World Cup discipline. So it's a big event, and I was really actually struggling to train for this one because the IFSC season finished in Innsbruck back in June, so I had a long time to train for this, but it also made my season 3 months longer. So it was a little bit tough to kind of keep the motivation going for this World Championships, but I made it there, and as you can see, I'm getting to the top of Boulder 1 on my first try. There was actually no true slab at this event. This is a brand new wall. They had a World Cup in Seoul last October that I went to as well, but the wall is completely different, and I actually really like this wall. But this slab is actually a 0-degree slab, so it's just a straight wall. Which made it for a really interesting boulder actually. And I think a lot of people were going dynamically to the zone, but I elected to kind of grab a screw hole and just kind of static my way to be a bit more safe. I find that Boulder 1 for me is always like, you want to definitely do it, you want to start your round off well, but I'm obviously a little bit nervous on the first boulder, especially I haven't done a World Cup and I've actually done any comps over the summer. So this is my first one in a while, and I was playing a little bit safe on Boulder 1. But I think it ended up being kind of almost a better beta. I think a lot of people were falling trying to get the zone dynamically, so I was able to get a good flash of the first one. Now taking a look at Boulder 2, as soon as I saw it, I could see the beta. It was very clear, and I knew exactly what I needed to do. You can see I've got the zone on my left hand there on my first try as well. And then, yeah, it's this interesting move. There is actually a little tiny no shadow hold right underneath this like big blue undercling that I'm kind of going up for. And so here I am on my second attempt, and I kind of don't quite hit the zone again. And but because I kind of felt the hold underneath the blue, I knew exactly what it felt like, and I was very confident I would do this on my next try. But as you can see, it's taking a couple more tries to get this zone again. You can see I'm slipping. I'm sort of like not quite hitting the holds properly. I find when I flash a move and then it's time to do it again, depending on the type of move, sometimes it can be almost a bit harder to do it again because you're kind of relaxed about it. But at this point, I'm not relaxed because it's been many attempts and I haven't stuck it yet. Here, I finally do it, but I think I'm a bit flustered, and I kind of don't even stop to focus on the move next, and I kind of mess up that move. So at this point, there's about a minute left, and I still have not kind of redone this move that I was trying to do. And but at the same time, I actually was very confident I would do this boulder for whatever reason. At this point, there's about 20 seconds left on the clock. I finally do the big shoulder move, which was really, really cool. I remember I took a look at the clock right after I grabbed the finish hold. You can see there's like no nonsense. I gotta do this boulder. I take a look at the clock, and it's 11 seconds left. And honestly, even though it's not very good for my score, I think I took 9 attempts to do that boulder. It's actually very interesting and exciting to send a boulder with like no seconds left. And it's a super clutch way to make a semi if that's what ends up happening. In this case, we'll see what happens towards the end of the round. But it was a super fun moment just to do that, whether it hurts your score or not because it took so many attempts. It's just a fun thing that happens in climbing that doesn't often happen in other sports. So moving on to Boulder 3, power boulder. Right away, I'm like, I just got to do this, no hesitation. And then this last move, there's a little heel hook I've got going, and as you know, if you've been paying attention to the channel recently, I did come off of a hamstring injury at the very beginning of this season, and I still have the injury. Hamstrings are notoriously very tough to heal, and they take a while. It's getting a lot better, but I still don't feel comfortable doing heel hooks, and I haven't done any heel hooks in probably 3 months on the right side. So I had to do one here very gently. It wasn't too bad, not that intense of a heel hook, but I definitely didn't trust it enough. and it just slipped right out of the hold on my second try. I actually only put 2 attempts on that boulder, and I waited maybe 3 minutes. I was just sitting on the mat, just looking at the boulder for 3 whole minutes, trying to get as much energy as I could to do one more big attempt on it. And you'll probably notice too, I kind of skipped the second last hole on my first attempt, so it was like a little bit of small errors, and then the heel hook wasn't set properly, so I unfortunately wasn't able to get a send of the third boulder. But at this point, you know, we're on boulder 4 now. I've got 2 tops under my belt, 3 zones. It's feeling pretty good, and we've got this interesting purple boulder. So this one, I'm not sure what the intention was, because you can see I'm trying to paddle here, and it's sort of close, but it's also feeling very hard, and I decided to switch up my beta after that because it didn't really feel like I would be able to do that in 5 minutes. I'd say paddles are not my strength, and you know, when push comes to shove, you gotta just see what you can do on the boulder. So I was able to actually kind of static and take my feet off for this first move. But then it's about kind of navigating, how do I get my hands traversing over to the right like that? And I think I was putting my toes and feet in the wrong positions, because there are so many options in this situation. You can see, this is a great image, you can see the clock right up front and center. Yeah, about a minute left, and I'm still trying to figure out, I know that it's going to be a static way, because nothing else felt as close as the static beta did. So here, I believe this is probably my last attempt, and it's time to kind of mess around with my feet and put them in some different places, because where I was putting them earlier was just not working. So I finally see this move where I can put my foot on this blocker, but it didn't feel good, so I decided to do a toe hook instead, which if you know any technique about like the dynamics of side pulls and opposition, it was not a good idea to do a toe hook, because if I'm pulling with my left and right hand on the sloper, there needs to be something pushing against to create that opposition. And when I'm pulling with one side and then just pulling in the same direction on the other side, all I'm going to do is fall off. So it was kind of not the right intuition for that move, but I think if I pressed off the foot, it would have been a little bit more likely to traverse all the way through and get the zone and hopefully get the top. So yeah, unfortunately, it's just not the right place to put my feet, and I didn't really find it in time. And you know, that's the name of the game. It's only 5 minutes, so you got to choose what you see first, and you can't really control what you see. Of course, I'm really working hard to change what my initial kind of intuition is, but it's a hard thing to change when it's just like ingrained in your system. Like, you just want to do the toe hook, but you know it's not good. Anyway, so we're moving on to boulder 5. We didn't get a zone on number 4, but we've got one more boulder left, and 3 tops on the scorecard is pretty good. So I would feel happy with a zone or with a top on this one, or even a zone would be great too. But right away, these holds were so good. I feel like I didn't need like a heel hook that they wanted on the start hold, and I'm cruising through this one, and this ends up being not too bad of a top. So this leaves me in 27th place, unfortunately, a couple spots out of semis at my last event of the season. But I'm feeling good about the performance, and it's going to be a long break with a lot of training leading into the next World Cup, which hopefully starts April or May of next year.